Gunfreaknation. It's the president. I'm TElectrik, and I love y'all. I'm highly upset. I'm pissed off. We got to do better. We got to be responsible gun owners. I knew of this particular true story, this case. I remember seeing it on, if y'all, years ago, it used to be a show coming on the Discovery Channel called The New Detectives. Some of y'all may know about it, some of you may not. But I recently saw the story again, and just like back then, matter of fact, it even more pissed me off. More than so back then when I first saw the show. I'm gonna say something. If you are in the 2A community or just a gun owner, a lawful gun owner, a gun owner, period, that's righteous, and you got kids, teach them about firearm safety. Teach them, educate them on the gun, and let them know that it's a tool to protect them if need be. You know what I'm saying? Let them know the responsibility of having access to a firearm. Let them know that it can be deadly and not to be took as a toy, something to play with. This is serious, and it can protect their lives. Okay? Let them know that. Let them know that. I'm so fucking pissed. I'm about to tell you about the story of Lisa Renee. She was only 16 years old. She was a child, man. She was a kid, a little girl. 16 years old. A teenager. And it pains my heart. And it's graphic what I'm about to say. But I don't sugarcoat anything because I feel y'all need to hear this. Once again, if y'all got kids out there, teach them how to handle a firearm. Let them know that it's not a toy and not to be played with, but a tool to save your life. Back to Lisa Renee. Lisa Renee was a 16-year-old girl. She had 2 ain't shit brothers that didn't give a fuck about her or the rest of her family. And I'm going to tell you why. Her 2 ain't shit brothers were drug dealers that had got themselves into some trouble and they needed lawyers. They had got themselves into some legal troubles. They were drug dealers. All right? I'm giving y'all the back end of the story of how all this shit, this fuckery got started. So they got into some legal trouble and they needed money to pay for lawyers because they was facing time. So they came up with a plan to scheme other drug dealers to beat them out of their money. So how it went down, it was 2 other drug dealers that wanted to meet up with Lisa Renee's 2 brothers to buy some weed, some marijuana. They wanted to, they put $4,700 for basically 5,000 in their hand. They were supposed to get back like a few pounds of weed, you know. So what happened when they met up? They did the transaction, and Lisa Renee's brother was like, "Well, we'll be right back with the weed." Well, they never came back. They ran off with the money. They knew they was gonna scam them. So when these drug dealers, and I think they were from Arkansas, I believe, they had traveled all the way to Texas, I believe, to do the transaction for the weed. The two Lisa Renee's brothers ran off with they 5,000. So they contacted them, and they was like, "Yo, where's our drugs at? Where's our weed at?" Her brothers lied and said that they got robbed and carjacked. So of course they was pissed, and they really didn't believe their story. So the two drug dealers that was from Arkansas, they knew somebody that worked at, this happened back in 1994. Cell phones wasn't even really, popular back then. I don't even think it was cell phones, But anyway, they knew somebody that worked at a telephone company. So the two drug dealers from Texas knew somebody that worked at a telephone company, and they had them track the phone number. When they first met up, they was talking on the phone, and the person that they knew gave them an address that the phone number, traced back to. So guess what? The drug dealers went to that address, scoped it out, saw the two brothers coming out of a apartment. Then they saw them get into the car that they claimed they had been carjacked for. So that pissed them off even more. So what they did, they went back to their hotel, called two other dudes to come up and meet up with them, and they was going to go to that apartment, and they said they was either going to get their money, get the drugs, or they was going to get it back in blood. So later that night, they went back to that apartment, but they started knocking on the door, pretending to be FBI agents. They was all in fatigues, army fatigues, and they was banging on the door, pretending to be FBI agents. Open the door, we FBI. Unfortunately, the two brothers, Lisa Renee's two brothers, wasn't there. But she was there, all alone, in her room, studying, doing her schoolwork. She was studying she was in there, she wanted to be a nurse. So that's what she was studying for. So, she was like, "Who is it?" They say, "FBI, let us in." She had the wisdom enough to not let them in. So what she did was she got on the phone and she called her older sister. Her sister said, "Call 911, call the police, call 911. So she hung up on her sister. She dialed 911, told them that some dudes was trying to break in. They was trying to kick in the door. As she was on the phone with 911 dispatch, one of the perpetrators, one of the savages, happened to go to a patio door. You know how they got the sliding glass, patio doors. He was able to peep in and see her. And he happened to have a bat in his hand. The other ones were armed with handguns. He saw her on the phone with 911, telling them what was happening. He took the bat, shattered the patio glass door, and they ran in and they snatched her up, grabbed her. Number one, when she got on the phone with 911, they wasn't there in time to get there. One of the savages took a bat and shattered the glass patio door and rushed in and grabbed her, snatched her, and they kidnapped her. They dragged her out to their car and they kidnapped her. Okay? Police did not get there in time. And then that makes me wonder, like, I know I'm in a perfect world, I wish that Lisa Renee would have had a gun so she could send them fucking savages to Funky Town. Because I guarantee you, if she would have had a gun and knew how to use it, she could have opened fire on their funky asses as soon as they shattered that goddamn patio door. And I guarantee you, it would have been a different outcome. If she knew how to operate a gun, if she would have had a gun and wouldn't have been afraid to use it and knew how to use it and shot them motherfuckers when they came in, the other ones more than likely wouldn't have rushed in. That's why it's important to have a gun. But unfortunately, she didn't. Man, they got her in the car. And as they was leaving, the police was coming and they passed by a patrol car that was headed to Lisa's apartment, but the police got there too late. So they took her back to they exchanged cars. They went to one of another savage's house, and they kidnapped her in a Cadillac, and then they put her in an escort because they wanted to take her back to Arkansas. Soon as they swapped cars and headed back to Arkansas, they ain't even waste time. Those fucking savages asked her while she was in the back seat, did she have a boyfriend? And when she replied no, they immediately ripped her clothes off and began brutally raping her. Right there in the fucking car, right there in the fucking back seat, raping her. Taking turns, raping her while they're in the cars, driving. And then one of them made her suck their dick in the back seat. This shit is so fucking disturbing. They took turns on that whole ride back to Arkansas, raping her. Once they got her back, once they made it to Arkansas, they booked a motel. They put a gun to her and told her to pretend that she was one of their girlfriends. And they held hands, pretending to be boyfriend and girlfriend to not attract attention. She went along with it because they had a gun to her. Once they got her in that motel, and this is a 16-year-old girl, they brutally beat her. They brutally raped her. They locked her in the bathroom, and it was 4 dudes, and each one of them took turns going in the bathroom, raping her, repeatedly raping her. She was nowhere. The police figured out what happened, that she was kidnapped. Her 2 sorry ass brothers that caused all this bullshit, they ain't even come forward right away to let the police know what happened. They ain't even come forward to say, look, man, we ripped some drug dealers off for $5,000, and that's probably why our sister has been kidnapped. They ain't even say shit. They spent the next 2 days, the next 48 hours, beating her, brutally raping her, sodomizing her, and just basically torturing her in that motel room. And once when they were done with her, it was like, she know too much and we gotta kill her. And as she begged and she pleaded for her life, they mocked her, man. So what 2 of the savages did, they went to a local park and they dug a grave, and they was gonna kill her that night. And what happened was, they waited that till nighttime, and they took her out to that park where they dug a grave, but for whatever reason, they got lost. They couldn't find that. They forgot where the grave was at. They couldn't find it at nighttime. So they took her back to the motel, raped her some more, and then, they slapped her around, raped her. She begging for her life. The next night, they took her back to the park, and this time, they found the grave, and they had her walking through the woods. Can you imagine the horror and the terror of, some savages walking you through the woods, and then you come across your own grave, and they lied to her. They was like, we just gonna bring you out here and just tie you up to a tree, and then somebody will find you. That's how they was keeping her calm. But when she saw the grave, she began to scream and try to run, and they caught her, and they just bashed her over the head with the shovel that was at the grave site that they dug for her, and she was still trying to fight for her life, and they just took turns beating her over the head with that shovel until they knocked her unconscious, and then they started stomping her, but she was still alive. They just knocked her unconscious. And you know what those bastards did? They threw her in the grave while she was unconscious but still alive. And they threw gasoline on her. And then, I don't know what was the purpose of putting the gasoline on her. Maybe they thought it might have been DNA evidence, or because they didn't light her on fire. They just soaked her with gasoline and then buried her alive. Fucking evil ass fucking savages. I hate you motherfuckers. They buried that kid alive. And all 4 of them got caught. It was really 5 involved, but 4 directly participated. The ringleader, he was executed. They put him on death row. He was executed in 2020. The other one, like the ringleader, and it was another one. They the ones that actually did the killing, where they was beating her in the head with the shovel and knocking her unconscious and buried her alive. He was on death row too, but he was found to be mentally challenged or whatever. In my opinion, it's bullshit. The motherfucking savage knew what the fuck he was doing, because he knew how to hide and all that. If you retarded, goddammit, you ain't gonna know to try to, avoid the police, evade the police, but he did. So they overturned his execution, and now he's serving life without parole. He's going to die in prison. But the ringleader, they executed him back in 2020, lethal injection. And believe it or not, the other two savages, they out. One of them did 30 years, and one did 25 years because they turned and snitched and testified against the other two. So one got 25 years, one got 30 years, and the fifth guy that knew about it, that paid for the motel, and he saw Lisa Renee in that motel, he could have saved him. So he got 15 years. So we got these fucking savages that's probably in their 50s now, and they walking amongst us, and they raped and brutally tortured a 16-year-old girl, and now these bastards are out on the streets. Look it up. Look up Lisa Renee. She's on Wikipedia right now. The whole story. True story. I wish that Lisa Renee would have been armed. And I hate that she had two ain't shit brothers that didn't give a fuck about her. It just pains my heart that a 16-year-old child life ended the way that it did. This girl, 16 years old, a virgin, and she spent the last 48 hours of her life being brutally raped, sodomized, orally raped, beat, and then to be led to her grave. And that's when she tried to fight for her life, and then to be knocked, beat to the point that you were unconscious, and then buried alive. When they did the autopsy on her, she died from suffocation. So parents, I say this to you. If you got kids and you are armed, please teach them firearm responsibility and let them know that that's a tool that can save their lives. Okay? It could save their lives. Because if Lisa Renee would have had a firearm, maybe things would have turned out different, Maybe at least she could have took some of them fucking no good ass bastard savages with her. At least she would have had a fighting chance. She called 911. They didn't get there in time. And I've been telling y'all that for years. Don't put the responsibility of defending your life, on police, 911. It don't work. Don't bet your life on hoping they get there in time. Because in the case of Lisa Renee, they didn't get there on time. And she paid for it with a price. And it's all her brother's fault for doing that shady shit, whipping off other drug dealers. And them motherfuckers matter of fact, her brothers are in prison right now, I believe, because they still didn't get out of the drug gang. They was just some no good motherfuckers, man. No good motherfuckers. They were savages, they self. Savages, pissed off other savages, and they took it out on their baby sister. If this ain't a reason to get armed, I don't know what else to tell you. If this is not a reason to educate your kids on firearms and how important they are in saving your life, I don't know what to tell you. But Lisa Renee, May your soul rest in peace. You didn't deserve for that to happen to you because you were innocent. You didn't have nothing to do with it. You didn't even know what it was all about. And baby girl, you didn't deserve for that to happen to you. You did not deserve for that to happen to you. You didn't deserve that. And you got two of these fucking savages. They served their time. And they're walking around amongst us right now because they don't got out of prison. This is the fucked up things about life when you got fucking savages like that and you got innocent people caught in the middle. So do that favor for me. Educate your kids, man. When I go out and about, I make sure I have a firearm within reach for my son. If savages try to come up in here, he gonna send them to Funky Town. He gonna fight back. He will fight back. I guarantee you that. And that's what it's all about, having that fighting chance. How fucked up would it be if you got kids and you got your guns locked up or they don't know anything about them because you haven't taught them, you haven't trained them, and something happened, a home invasion happened, and they don't know what to do. They don't know where the guns at. They don't know the combination to the safe to get to the gun. They don't know how to use the gun, and then they lose, because of that, they lose their life. How fucked up is that? If you properly train your kid, they know not to play with that gun. You can leave the guns around them. They know not to pick it up unless danger is coming their way. So listen, I love y'all. Food for thought. Have your kids savage ready. How about that? Get them savage ready. Because you never know when some bullshit can go down. I don't never ever want to see another horrible story. True story. A case. It ain't no story, it's a case. The case of Lisa Renee, 16-year-old girl, kidnapped, brutally gang raped for over 2 days, and then buried alive. You funky, evil, stinking, fucking devilish, demonic ass fucking savages. You all need a fucking bullet in your head. And to know that two of you motherfuckers is walking around free men now. You did 25 years. One of them did 30 years. But Lisa Renee ain't never coming back. She's gone forever. Fucking bastards. Gunfreak Nation, I love y'all, man. I love y'all, woman. I love y'all. Period. Y'all stay ready. Stay savage ready. Please. I beg y'all. Because you never know. You ain't got to be looking for trouble. Trouble will find you. And when it do, send that motherfucker to Funky Town. Don't be no fucking future victim, okay? Do not be future victims. I love y'all, Gunfreak Nation. I love y'all. Y'all mean the world to me. But I'm heartbroken. I'm angry. And I wish Lisa Renee would have had a gun to be able to defend her life. You know, it's incredibly sad. But I love y'all. Y'all take care. Y'all stay armed. Y'all stay righteous. Y'all stay responsible with your firearms. And remember, when the savage try you, you send his stinking ass to Funky Town. I love you, Gunfreaknation Salute. You see, I got mine right here. I'm ready. Locked and loaded, baby.